Okay, today's video we're talking about smart bidding versus basically manual bidding. There's a different type of manual bidding called enhanced CPC bidding, which is something that I use in every single search campaign I use. And I'm going to explain why in this video. And of the smart bidding options, of course, there's target CPA, target ROAS, of course, as well. Maximize clicks, if you want to count that technically. And I'm going to explain the differences between those and the manual options, manual and enhanced CPC, which is basically a halfway between smart bidding and manual bidding. Which one's the best? What are the pros and cons of each? What I use, why I use it, and ultimately how to maximize profit by, out of these available options. What to use and what scenario to use them in. Okay, so I will give you the how-to guide of how to replicate what I'm doing to guarantee results on clients' campaigns here at our firm. But I'll start out with a quick prelude, and I'll go over the basic, nuts and bolts of how each one of these actually work, because that's the thing. At surface level, each of these bidding options say and advertise they do one thing, when reality is there's, the devil's in the details, we'll say. That Google's not lying to us. It's just, if you have no experience running these, you can be in for a surprise. So I'm going to try to take out all those surprises for you, the big things that you need to know, so you don't basically end up making less money. It all comes down to maximizing profit here. And of course, the bigger thing is as well, not running out of money before you ever get off the ground. We're always trying to get the profitability so that the ads are feeding themselves, profit going in, and scale ad spend after that. But if you can't get your ads profitable, quickly enough, you're just out of money, you're out of the game. And that's the bigger thing, which I'm going to go over, and why I use enhanced CPC bidding versus smart bidding as a whole, just to give you a quick overview, prelude into what this video is truly going to be about. So anyway, there are pros and cons to which bidding options you choose with Google Ads, as there is in life and everything else. Pros and cons. With one, there is more overall potential and less overall potential. With one, there's more overall potential, and another, there's less overall potential and less overall involvement with the process, i.e. smart bidding. However, there is also a lot of potential for quicker results and more control with non-smart bidding, if you want to call it that, manual or enhanced CPC bidding on Google Ads as well. So the main thing is, it really depends on what you want. Do you want the most results, or do you want less work, particularly up front? Because that's the biggest, if you want to cut out all the crap, the biggest thing is, if you use smart bidding, it cuts out the work or the seeming potential of work out of the process. Also, of course, Google advertises that they're going to do it better than you. And if you do zero work on your campaigns, basically, yes, respectively, that is correct. But if you're not sitting on piles of money and you're not Scrooge McDuck, you may run out of money before you ever get it working with smart bidding. It is the long story short to all this. If you use manual bidding, there's more work, but you're going to have less loss up front. With manual bidding options, I will normally spend 100 to 1,000% less money up front to get to a break-even point with our ads, as compared to using smart bidding for the few that we have done it. In some occasions, the client absolutely insists on using smart bidding right away. One thing I do a lot here is set up campaign structures, where we handwrite ads for every keyword, hundreds of keywords, hundreds of ads, custom landing pages basically for every keyword, which, if you didn't know, that makes a huge difference. It works basically in every market to get you an extra 50, 100, 200% increase in leads and sales for no extra work once it's set up. But then they'll want smart bidding. What happens with smart bidding is the cost per click goes sky high initially, because Google, I guess I'll just say assumes, at least the way that it seems to me, that if you set let's say you're going to use smart bidding and you're going to use target CPA bidding, you want a you want a set amount to pay per lead, or you want a set amount target revenue or target ROAS bidding. Google's going to go ahead and try to get that as quickly as possible, which also means they're going to try more stuff because it's their machine learning and algorithm goes off of some testing. It uses as much back data as they can about what's worked for other competitors in the past. Basically all the keyword auctions, they have all the data on what people clicked on in the past and try to use that for your campaigns. But still, every ad that you write and every landing page and site that you have and process to get the person's information and order or whatever is different, and that they're going to go ahead and try a whole bunch of stuff, okay? Respectively, I hate to say it, but Google also wants to make some money. It helps them make more money if it takes them, they need more data to figure out how to set up your ads well, but it also helps them if they go at it balls to the wall with the testing, basically. And you'll often find that the cost per click that you end up paying can be, I've seen it where it's 10 times higher than what the cost per click, quote unquote, should be right away in order to get your ads into the auctions quicker. Let me just tell you quickly how this works. All the ads that you see on Google, really there's 4 ads in the top of Google. What happens is, there's usually 10 to 20 people that are cycling in and out. Their algorithm's constantly trying to figure out who's the ad that's going to get the person from being initially searching to satisfied in the quickest and easiest manner possible, because that's what gets people to come back to Google and use it again in the future. So if you are in a competitive market, they have all the back data on those particular companies' ads and landing pages, and their algorithm hates trying stuff new, because usually the new person coming in 90% of the time does a half-assed job. So they know that from past experience. So they have 2 strikes against you when you start out, and also with that they charge you significantly more per click. But also, if you're starting out, they won't have you show up for all the keywords like you want right away, because they slowly test you out. If you use the automated bidding options, smart bidding options, basically, as I see it, they're willing to pay any price possible to get you in all the right auctions right away. So instead of paying, again, like $50 a click, if you're in water damage restoration, you might pay $500 a click. So you're in all the best auctions immediately. But you may not be able to afford to run your campaigns at a huge loss for 3 months until you get to your target cost per lead that may be profitable. It may suck up 15 grand before you ever get there, or you're out of business, or get discouraged before you ever get started. The other thing that happens in terms of what drives the lead cost up with smart bidding is the keyword matching algorithm seems to be more liberal, as far as I've seen it, or even wilder, as I wrote here, with the smart bidding. So keyword match types, you have your keywords, and then there's the search terms report that shows what people really typed in before they clicked on your ads. The keywords are what you bid on. Instead of having, if you do water damage restoration in homes, when there's houses get flooded, like going back to my previous example, if you have the keyword water damage restoration, whereas if you're using manual bidding, it will be like top water damage restoration companies. It might be pretty much similar to what keyword you have if it's in the brackets exact match format. But if even if you're still doing the exact match and you do the smart bidding, it'll go and find water damage restoration prices, which you may not want, because obviously there's people looking for just basic information at that point, and some people may want to hire somebody for that typing that in, but a lot of people won't. And they, I guess, take the liberty of you saying, here, take all my money, Google, find me some customers. They want to find them for you. So on their side, defending them, they are going to find it for you fast if they go ahead and just blast everything, test everything possible right away. But the downside is, again, you're going to have a much lower a much higher cost per lead or much higher cost per sale or lower ROI initially while the algorithm figures it out and it goes through a bunch of quick testing. If you use manual bidding, it will be more conservative in the keyword matching, and the bid you can keep lower because ultimately you get to set kind of what the bid is. Enhanced CPC bidding, what it is actually about halfway between manual bidding, which if you set the bid at $2, that's what you're paying basically, or less. Whereas smart bidding, it can do $20 a click if it thinks that that's what they want to start you out with to gather some data quickly and so that you get some results fairly quickly. With enhanced CPC bidding, more so what it is, as per my experience and research, is if you set a bid at $2, it'll pretty much for that keyword only do $2 unless the algorithm knows that that particular person, and this is in writing elsewhere, you can find this, if that person has already been to 2 of our competitors' websites already, which indicate at a stronger level that that person is going to be buying and not just messing around and looking for information or whatever. And so they'll charge us $4 in that case, but that's because they know that person's twice as likely to buy because people have clicked on those 2 ads in the past. When they clicked on the 3rd ad, we're twice as more likely to buy. So therefore, you do want to give Google the liberty to charge you more then, even if it's 3, 4, 5 times as higher, because in those cases, it evens out. It's just like you paid $2, and it allows you to let them charge you more if there is a more profitable opportunity. Whereas the smart bidding, yes, it has some of that, but it also has, let's try a whole bunch more stuff. Let's not just charge more depending on our back data for this person, but we're going to try a whole bunch of different keywords that are closely related to your keywords, but not quite. It'll be more liberal about that. And if initially, instead of us slowly testing your stuff and getting it in the auctions, we'll get it in there right away. You'll pay a great deal more, but we'll sure you get seen right away. And you might spend $10,000 up front initially to make sure you get into all the main places on Google for all your keywords and kick out whoever was there at the 3 spot or 2 spot normally. But you're going to be there right away. You're not going to waste so much time. So one thing is, respectively, you'll do less work obviously with as it's presumed, which I'll get to in a minute. Doing smart bidding, you don't have to worry about what to bid for what keyword and all that. You're letting Google take over and basically not having to come in there and later on and see, oh, this keyword, I have to bid higher or it's not being shown or whatever. You're letting them do some of the work for you, and you're getting results potentially faster, but you're paying a higher price, a significantly higher price. Like I said, between 100 and 1,000% more to get to the point where it's initially break-even profitable. And so if you're only starting out with a few grand, well, yes, it's going to take you some more time, but you start out with manual bidding. And respectively, I start out with, not manual, but enhanced bidding, and enhanced CPC bidding, because that's the best of kind of both worlds. That gets you leveraging Google's data, and you're not going to have this wild, series of testing going on initially that's going to suck up a whole bunch of our clients' budgets before before we hit a profitable cost per lead or cost per sale. But there's never a time where I want to spend 10, 20, 30 grand to where we get our target cost per lead or cost per sale where we want it. So we'll start it with enhanced CPC. We'll wait a little bit longer, but respectively, it's not that much longer as long as you use my method here, which will get you. It'll take a little bit longer, but you'll get to this. You'll get to the profitability with way less money and just a little bit more time. If you deal with any kind of smart bidding option, I only recommend doing it until you get at least 1,000 sales or qualified leads. Keyword qualified leads, meaning you have to set up what is called offline conversion tracking and get your CRM data to sync with your Google Ads account so you can see when a lead has been marked qualified, or if you don't have a CRM, you import monthly back all the GCLID code, which is Google's gives a serial number basically to every ad click or user. And when somebody, you can collect that serial code from a hidden form field on your contact forms, and using a call tracking provider like CallRail, they capture the code for you, and then you import once a month all the people and the codes that are tied to people who were qualified or had bought, so that the smart bidding can get you more and more of the people that were qualified. Otherwise, if you're just letting them go unleash the thing with the automated smart bidding, they may actually have your keyword show up for like free water damage restoration services, right? That'll get you a whole shitload of leads, but they're not the leads you want. And if you're not paying attention, and presumably you're using smart bidding to save time, then you could, figure out, if you're not paying attention very closely, that, your salespeople were getting, for every good lead, they were getting 4 bad ones, and you wasted 20 grand before you figure it out. And now you're back to square one, because you can't do that anymore, because you're bleeding too much too quick, and you got to go back to manual bidding anyway, or enhanced CPC bidding at least. Why 1,000? Because also that's the time when the algorithm has enough qualitative data to see, pretty much for sure the type of people that normally buy. If they're looking at 10 customers and how those customers are similar to each other of their thousands of possible traits, and Google storing all the data about all the users they have, buying data about what you do on other websites, what you do on Google Chrome, what you say when you have a phone that has a Google app on it being recorded, stuff you say when another app's again being, that you have on your phone, and them selling the data back to Google, because all this stuff happens. Each person has a profile, and there's a million possible attributes that could be tied to you, and each user will have, maybe 100 or 200. When you're comparing those attributes for 10 customers, there's not a lot that they can draw conclusions on. But if you're looking at 1,000 customers, now they can draw some pretty strong conclusions as to the traits that all these 1,000 people have. They'll at least make a much stronger decision at that point, and the results show it. So essentially, you can start with manual bidding. It's profitable already. You're going to keep getting your cost per conversion lower and lower using the process I'm going to share for you that I use with enhanced CPC bidding. And then eventually, if you can't get it any lower, that's when the manual the smart bidding can actually serve a pretty good purpose and take over and look at and optimize the ads way beyond any of the other, what you can see visually inside your account as far as switches and levers there. Because they can, again, look at all the traits of the user and what they have, like, are they a high school graduate? Have they said that their basement's leaking recently, or have they not said it? And are they searching for the first time this? And which those aren't options for you to see inside your Google account per se. Well, the high school graduate is if you look at you can do that in the audience menu as an observance there, which I have a video about that. If you want to start getting more results with your search campaigns, you can have a bunch of these things, and you can look at and bid more if they're a high school graduate or less to help you get a little bit more out of your results. But basically speaking, they look at this so-called metadata that they store on each user, what they're doing, what they like, where they've been, what sites they've been to, because they have Google Analytics code on a bunch of websites. They got Google Chrome, which is the main web browser now. They know what you're doing, how you're doing it, what you're thinking basically, and they can use that to gear how much that you should be bidding, and specifically a keyword that wouldn't have worked before, like how do I fix my water damaged basement, but have all these other traits that make them similar to somebody who buys, that they'll now have you in that auction now, and you have a chance to have one more customer or a few more customers you wouldn't have had before. So I talked about if you have regular leads, the smart bidding can go nuts getting you all these crappy leads in a hurry, and you lose a bunch of money before you figure out that you have to slow things down. You're gonna run out of money in general to market in general or advertise in general. If you do have, respectively, if you're doing lead generation, you're not doing like online sales or whatever, or enough sales that you can track to the cart or whatever, then if you're gonna do smart bidding itself, you would also have to be able to not have it take a really long time to get to where you're break even with your ads already. All your keywords in exact match, because again, the keyword matching with the smart bidding is wilder than if you do manual bidding, as I found, and you're going to want thousands of negative keywords. So potentially it won't even save you that much time. So whereas a lot of people think of the smart bidding is like, I could just put in there, I need $35 cost per lead, and they're done. Google says you don't need negative keywords. I'm telling you, you basically do, because the algorithm doesn't know the nuances of your business. They know other businesses and what they like, but that doesn't say that's what the exact customers you like and can profit on and can make as much money on. So you got to go in there all the time. When I first launch a campaign, I'm adding negative keywords every day because the searches are really wild starting out. And then it goes to once a week, then once a month, and then stays once a month. And you never stop adding them. And then if you're going to do exact match keywords, you're going to need to find the hundreds of different variants of the way that people search for your product or service and to do exact match. Otherwise, you're going to be limiting yourself a lot. So you do all that work. The automated bidding is really not saving you that much time anyway. So as far as an actual time saver, it's basically not doing that much. Particularly as you can manage your bids when you use enhanced CPC bidding pretty easily, given that you're giving them the liberty to charge you a little bit more if somebody looks like they're going to be buying at have a higher conversion rate than normal. And then what I'll do is this. I'll start out, everybody who, even if it's a larger company, they have unlimited money to spend, let's say, I always start them out, and when I do my client proposals and reviews to see what Google can do for them, we figure out what our cost per lead needs to be, or our cost per sale needs to be starting out. And then we have a set budget of like $3,000. Not even if you're a big company, we start with like a $3,000 budget, and then you build your campaigns, and then you set the daily budget on all those campaigns so that the total daily budget of all the campaigns isn't going to go over that $3,000. And everything from there on is to get to the cost per lead that we know, or cost per sale we need to get to be profitable, because then we can start to ratchet up the ad budget and start to scale. So when you do that, I'm going to up the bids on the keywords high enough so that they won't say, warning, low pay, not high enough to get to the first page, which you can see next to the keyword in the keyword menu. And then for most of them, if the keyword's really expensive, then I just leave the bid at a arbitrarily lower amount, because those keywords where everything else is like $10 a click and there's some that are like 50, I'll just leave those for later per se. Later, given that it won't be 50 anymore, once the account's gotten some traction, Google's realized the ads we built are better than our competition's in terms of click-through rate, and then the experience that the user has on our page. They're not going back to click on something else on Google at the same rate our competition is, and then those keywords will be profitable later on. But then I'll run those campaigns, and then I'll wait for my campaigns to say limited by budget, which means the ads are shutting off at half the day or 3/4 of the day, and it could go longer if you raise the budget. At that particular time, given I'm also using enhanced CPC bidding here still, I'll lower the bids on all the keywords a certain amount. So respectively, if it says that I can now spend, instead of $10 a day on this campaign, I can now spend, it says 30, I'll go in there and on all, assuming, let's just say we had one campaign. It's saying I have a $3,000 budget, I was spending 100 a day, it's saying I can spend 300 a day. Instead of raising the budget, if I'm, obviously if we're not at our target cost per sale or target cost per conversion yet, we'll lower the bids by basically 60% on all the keywords, so that the campaigns won't shut off midday, and we're getting a better rate per keyword. And I keep doing that until I can't lower the bids on the keywords anymore. And then at that particular time, I probably got my target cost per conversion already. Google's recognized they want to charge us way less. They want to encourage us to advertise because we're the best person at serving everybody's needs, and they want to send all the traffic they can to us. At that point, if my cost per conversion is not low enough yet, or my cost per sale or cost per lead is not low enough yet, I look through the search terms report and I find single words that are in there. And I'll find what the cost per lead was with any search term that had the word cheap in it. And if the cost per conversion was over double what the average cost per conversion is in as a whole out of all of our search terms, then I'll pause any keyword with the word cheap in it, and I'll add cheap as a negative keyword as well to go with the rest of the negative keywords that we add. And that will, of course, drop the cost per conversion, okay? And maybe after doing that, we won't be spending the $3,000 a month anymore, but it's, we know at least we got our target cost per conversion, and maybe we only spend $2,000 a month now, but we can look for something else, a new way to drive traffic on another keyword, on another, maybe a display ad, and try to build things up further from there. But that gets me basically to the target cost per conversion, basically almost as fast as the smart bidding will, but with way, way less money spent up front to be able to get it. That's a very formulaic way to just let, the account does all the work for you, and then respectively, instead of letting the algorithm, which you're giving them total leeway to do everything, all the testing they want, your testing is simply going to be of all your keywords that you're bidding on and all the search phrases that people typed in to find your ad. What are the individual words within those phrases that actually, statistically, if that word is included in the phrase somewhere that they typed in, isn't going to be able to have the potential to hit the target cost per conversion I want. And so we're just going to kick that out. And once you've eliminated 10, 20, 30 of those single individual words that are inside, the amount of, users' search phrases that they're making, usually we'll hit a target cost per conversion after that. And that's what I personally do. And so with enhanced CPC bidding, I'm still I'm letting Google charge me more per click if they know that person pretty much for sure is going to be able to convert at a higher rate. So I'm not losing anybody that way. I'm taking advantage of Google's algorithm to some degree, but also I'm not letting them test all these keywords that I don't need to test when I can easily see myself how to just eliminate individual aspects of the keywords I have that are just not going to get to the target cost per conversion I need. The only time you would use maximize clicks would be the time when you just simply can't get enough clicks and your cost per conversion is already there. That's rarely used by me, basically never, because if I want more clicks, I'm usually just going to write a better ad. That's the easier thing to do, split test the ads. But if you can't do anything else, maximum clicks is another way to get a few more clicks. But it doesn't really do much, as I have found, once you're already to that stage anyway. And then so there's maximize conversions, which is target CPA, the way that target CPA was described before, and which is target ROAS. There's a different name for them now inside your Google Ads account in the in where you're choosing the bid settings in your account. I just wanted to throw that in there, which I haven't tested that one out myself. Respectively, I don't see how that's going to make sense, because I don't want to show up there if Google's saying that the likelihood that person isn't going to convert well, then they're not going to be charging me more already, with as you will get with enhanced CPC, while you would just want to be plastered there no matter what. Frankly, the people that want to be there no matter what are thinking about things the wrong way. I want to know what my target cost per conversion needs to be, and I want to be there every single time I can get a cost per conversion at my target or less, but I don't want to be there if I can't. That's how you're going to make the most money. Not just, it's there, and as long as it's there, I'm happy. That's not the way to make the most money with Google Ads. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense about, how smart bidding is different. The maximize conversions, maximize the conversion value, which is, options, maximize conversion value tied to, which is what was called target ROAS, and then maximize conversions, which was tied to cost per action, CPA, target CPA for smart bidding options, and then maximize clicks, what that can do for you, and how enhanced CPC is going to help you over manual CPC bidding which I'm going to use enhanced CPC bidding every time because I get that added bit of data going for me that Google has on each and every user they have that uses Google on a regular basis, that they pay billions of dollars to acquire from themselves and the products they own to make you addicted to them, and all the other people that have their customer as well to get data where you go on other apps and other platforms and other places to get data about what your menstrual cycle is. If you have a menstruation tracking app and all that other kind of weird stuff going for your campaigns to get a little bit more out of it, or a lot, really it's a lot more out of it. You're going to get a lot more out of enhanced CPC than manual bidding, which is why I switched to it several years ago already. The shopping and this was all for search campaigns. Shopping campaigns, I'm using smart shopping campaigns because those work better than regular shopping. So I wanted to throw that in there. I just got to a point about a year or so ago that smart shopping could not beat the regular shopping campaigns anymore. Even with adding all the negative keywords and all that, which you could do with regular shopping, I still couldn't beat it. But for regular search campaigns, given that there's so many other variables, you're going to a lot of times pay a huge pile of money to let Google find your customers on your own. Particularly if you don't want to personally do any work at all. But even if you do all that work, it's still going to cost you a pile of money. At least it compared to the method I gave you, where you can, cap your daily budget and lower your bids as soon as you see the ads get broken in more and more, and then just individually, instead of a wild algorithm, take out individual keywords that contain individual words that statistically are drive high cost, what's going to drive high cost per conversion. So anyway, I'll wrap it up with that. I think I went through most of the main stuff that you need to know here that I can possibly think of to help you get the results faster. Gave you the most best of both worlds option with the enhanced CPC. You can also use smart bidding to your advantage once you get at least 1,000 sales or 1,000 qualified leads, which if you aren't doing lead tracking and importing when leads turn into a qualified lead, or even better is, do they turn into a sale and how much revenue they spent? So you can do not just target CPA for qualified leads, but you can do target ROAS or maximize conversions bid setting to let Google go the rest of the way with you. You can get even more conversions once you use my method down the road. 1,000 sales that stem from your lead, that leads or stem from your shopping cart, that your sales that you're getting there, or sales that come through the phone, in which you close on the phone and process over the phone, but you're importing into Google Ads. Google will get you more than you can even get on your own once you've gotten a certain amount of data, and will run conservatively once you've gotten through to that point, because they don't have to at that point go and guess a bunch of different things. You've given them enough data where they don't have to wildly guess anymore, and therefore waste a bunch of your money to get to the end result you want, which is more conversions at a cost per conversion that you can afford. Anyway, with that all said, I have a ton of other videos on this channel about other money-making PPC strategies. If you want to make a ton of money with PPC, you can definitely find videos on just about every topic related to PPC on this channel to make a good deal of money with. I have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog with step-by-step instructions on how to build campaigns the way that I build them here for our clients to guarantee the results. You can go ahead and, if you want to see information along those lines, you can find it there as well. If you have any questions about smart bidding or enhanced CPC bidding or manual bidding or maximize conversions, maximize conversion value, maximize clicks, any of the bidding option types, let me know. Leaving a comment down below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel within a day or two time. That all said, I'll wrap it up with that. Hope you enjoyed. See you in my next video that comes out in another day or two.